Okay, Melby's book club. We're gonna do it. Hopefully, this is gonna work out right. Thanks to everybody who stayed with us through the first book and is here for the second. I'm really excited about this book, and we're just gonna go ahead and announce it. It's The Demonologist by Andrew Pyper. There it is. It's a nice cover. And of course, we're lucky enough to be able to have access to some of the authors. There's Andrew right there. Hi, Andrew.
Hello.
How are
Hello.
you?
I'm doing well. How are you doing, Mel?
I'm good. So we want to talk a little bit about the book, but we don't want to give obviously too much of it away. But I have to admit, before we, start to get into some of the particulars, there were two scenes in the book that I found absolutely terrifying.
Oh, good. That music to my ears. That's great.
And I mean, like when we have a chance to sit down again and talk about more detail of the book, it'll be fun to see if anybody else was able to pick out the same scenes, or if anybody else found anything else particularly terrifying like I did in the book. But there were definitely one in particular was amazing. Okay, so the book starts out with Professor David Ullman, right?
That's right.
And he's among the world's leading authorities on demonic literature. How did you decide on that? Like, where did your idea for that come from?
Well, I wanted a character who was someone who had a great knowledge of demonology and demonic mythology, but wasn't someone who necessarily believed in any of that stuff. So I guess he could have been a priest or a minister or a theologian, but that wouldn't have worked because I needed him to be someone like I think most readers of the book, that is to say, someone who is skeptical, if not outright doubtful, if not outright disbelieving, when it comes to believing in demons and angels and God and heaven and hell and all those things. So he's an expert again on demonology, and particularly Milton's poem Paradise Lost, but he doesn't think any of that stuff is literally true. And that's, of course, the course of his journey is one from skepticism and disbelief to belief.
Now, this was something that kind of occurred to me because I was sitting down today and make my notes for our opportunity to talk, and this crossed my mind, and maybe it's something that we should save or maybe get a little bit more into when we do our second chat. But is the book really about demons, or is it more about like mental health and the things that people struggle with versus belief or disbelief in all of that demonology stuff?
Well, for as long as there's been a belief in demons, there has been theories about those demons to enter our lives, and oftentimes it's people who are in moments of transition in their life, people who move from one place to another, people who move into a house or a situation that's unfamiliar to them, and or people who, in contemporary language, people who are depressed. Sadness, grief is always seen as a doorway in, potentially, for the demonic. And so that was important for the book. As you point out, that David Ullman is someone who all of his life has suffered from depression. He calls it melancholy, but it amounts to the same thing. And so has his daughter, Tess. She has been someone who has been afflicted by this, what she calls the black crowd life, for both of them, and that is what makes them susceptible to it's not so much a weakness of character, but it is an opening. That grief, that sadness is an opening for the demonic into their lives.
Sure. And so you brought up Tess, and we can't, I mean, we can't really talk too much about Tess, but I do want to touch on Elaine. I feel like Elaine is the kind of friend that everybody should have, right? Like
Yeah,
everybody should have an Elaine in their lives.
absolutely. And we should all be so lucky. It's what's interesting about her. She's David's best friend in the novel, and in my outline, was originally conceived of as a much older male colleague at the university who plays a much smaller role in the story. He is an elderly man. He's retired. He's dying of cancer, and he initially he was planned to die sort of a third of the way through the book. And in the writing of the book, very very early on, this old guy called him O'Brien became a contemporary female named O'Brien, who is David's best friend and who joins him on his journey, all of which was unanticipated by me. She was just someone who took the stage, refused to leave it, and she became a really quite a major part of the novel.
Yeah, she's great. I really liked her. And another super fun part about the book club that we do is that each month there are members of the club who win free copies of the book, and you have the names of this month's winners.
I do. I'm very pleased to announce the winners are Vanessa Clark, Meredith Chamberlain, Ted McPherson, and Holly Saltzman.
Perfect. Okay, so
Congratulations.
Andrew, what we'll do is we give people until the 15th before we're able to start kind of having any real discussion on the Facebook page about the book and the story and things that happened during the book. So I'll be in touch with you around the 15th, and we'll see if we can find a time where the two of us can sit down again. And if you're open to it, even opening up this Google Hangout to see if we could have a couple other members of the book club join us. How do you feel about that?
That would be awesome. Totally awesome. Yeah.
Perfect. Okay, so Andrew, we'll talk again really soon. Thank you so much for doing this with us. We really appreciate it.
Thanks, Mal.
Okay, have a great night.
You too.
Bye-bye.